Hey guys, if you're thinking about selling final expense over the phone or are currently selling final expense over the phone, you need to make sure that you have the absolute best carriers at your disposal. Final expense telesales is entirely different from final expense face-to-face sales, and your carriers are going to make a big difference in your ability to close business successfully or not. And in this video, I'm going to go over my favorite 5 final expense carriers that are perfect for telesales. My name is David Duford, owner of Duford Insurance Group, where I train and recruit agents nationally to sell final expense, Medicare, and annuities, both face-to-face and over the phone. So without further ado, let's jump right in and talk about my 5 favorite final expense telesales carriers. And by the way, there's no particular order with these carriers that I'm listing. The way I look at carriers is that each one is going to have a unique reason why you should sell it, but there's no one carrier that does everything. So you have to have a collection of carriers to more or less satisfy all of the possible underwriting, pricing, and ease of use concerns. So with that said, let's start first with Prosperity Life Insurance. Prosperity Life Insurance is one of the simplest carriers to use if you're selling final expense over the phone, or there's a couple of reasons why. First of all, it utilizes what's called a verbal authorization application process. You simply start the application on your electronic application software online on their website, and then transition to a phone call, rated up or declined, or get a rating decision by the end of the phone call. Again, this is vital, as you'll see with all the other carriers, because getting a decision at the end of the phone call is a requirement. You'll find it's very common when you hang the phone up with your prospects that they just mysteriously disappear into the ethers. They go up into the rapture or something. They never pick the phone up again. So you have to end the phone call with them actually approved and closed. And Prosperity is great because it uses a verbal authorization application that does not require the client to electronically sign anything. Their verbal authorization is equivalent to a written or digital signature because, let's face it, Mildred in her 70s and 80s is lucky enough to even get her Facebook app open, much less do a DocuSign about half of the time. So verbal authorization processes are very important. A couple other reasons I like Prosperity. First of all, they pay full commission for all of their products. They're modified, graded, and level product from ages 50 to 80 years old. They have a 3-year look back on cancer, a 2-year look back on heart issues to get possibly eligible for level coverage. They take all forms of payment, including direct express, debit card, and of course checking and savings accounts. And they're friendly with insulin use and don't have a knockout question based off of when insulin was prescribed. So I highly recommend using Prosperity. I have a lot of agents that use it. They love it. There's also a 10% cash bonus if you can issue pay in excess of $20,000 approximately every quarter of the year. So again, I highly recommend this particular carrier if you're looking for an add-on to your telesales list. The second carrier on the list here, for a lot of the same reasons that I really like, is Royal Neighbors of America. Royal Neighbors really does everything right when it comes to final expense, especially telesales. Just like Prosperity, they have a verbal authorization application process where your client can get an instant decision at the end of the phone call. It's very convenient and very quick. Also, they have a very good underwriting profile with a 2-year look back on cancer, a 2-year look back on heart issues. They actually accept insulin if started 30 years old or older, and also diabetic neuropathy, which is also extremely important. And you'll find that their knockout list of prescriptions is much lower than your typical final expense telesales carrier, so they tend to be, on average, a little more flexible with a lot of conditions or a lot of prescriptions, whereas other carriers might have problems. They're particularly competitive for females age 60 to 75. That's where you're going to find their kind of sweet spot. And they also offer fraternal benefits that are actually pretty useful. They have a discount program available for anybody who signs up, including you, the agent, that will give you discounts on vision, hearing, and what else? Dental vision. You know what I mean, dental care. And it's actually significant. It's a large network of doctors. A lot of our clients are on Medicare and don't have good dental care or vision or can't hear very well, and we can get them discounts on all sorts of services they would otherwise pay full price for. So it's actually a really cool little thing to add on to your life insurance product, which of course is very good too. They only issue pay right now at the filming of this, which is the end of 2020, between the ages of 50 to 75. In most states, the graded plan isn't available. This is due to the COVID pandemic. But still, most of what you're going to write anyway is going to be level with Rural Neighbors. And they serve a really good niche. Number 3 on the list here is Liberty Bankers Life. Liberty Bankers Life is a great product, whether you want to use as a lead carrier or as a niche-based carrier, really both. I like them primarily because of their standard rating classification. You see, whereas Royal Neighbors and Prosperity have a level, grade, and a graded and a modified plan, Liberty Bankers has a preferred, standard, and modified plan. The biggest difference is graded is partial coverage in the first 2 years, whereas a standard price plan is a higher priced first day full coverage plan. And what's great about it is their standard rating allows for coverage that you couldn't get with either of the other 2 carriers, Prosperity or Royal Neighbors. Give you a couple examples. First of all, you can get COPD first day full coverage with Liberty Bankers Life. Now, what I'm being told now, due to some recent underwriting changes, is only if you don't smoke can you get COPD at first day full coverage, but that does come in handy. Also, you can get things like insulin started before the age of 25. With some carriers, that's a little tighter. So, for example, if you couldn't get Royal Neighbors, you could get insulin with Liberty Bankers Life at any age. Below 25, it's standard. Above 25, it's preferred. Also, kidney issues that are non-kidney failure, that aren't, say, dependent upon dialysis are okay. If hepatitis C is cured, they've taken treatment for it, it's gone, even if it was declared gone the prior day, then your client is absolutely eligible for standard price coverage. Now, of course, for level coverage, they take 2-year look backs on cancer, heart issues, 2-year look back. They take all forms of mental health disorders like depression, bipolar, PTSD, schizophrenia is preferred, so it's very flexible in that regard as well. So I like them a lot. They have a verbal authorization application with an instant decision at the end. It's pretty consistent in issuing a decision, which is a must in telesales, as I've mentioned earlier. Number 4 on the list here is our guaranteed issue carrier of choice, which my preference is to use Great Western. I like Great Western because of its ease of use predominantly. It's not as competitively priced as, say, AIG or American General, but the problem with both of those companies, if you depend upon a client to not have access to a computer, or in other words, if you feel like a lot of your clients aren't going to be able to DocuSign or complete an electronic signature process, you need to do a verbal authorization application. And even if a company is more competitive, what value does it really have if you can't even get the business issued because they can't sign or figure out how to sign the application? So Great Western is great because you start the electronic application, the client does a quick phone interview process to validate who they are and all the normal stuff on the phone, and that's all they have to do to verbally sign the application. It's very quick, it's very simple. It allows you to get guaranteed issue coverage between the ages of 40 to 80 years old. Again, no questions asked, so it's the trump card. It covers everything that your other carriers can't. And then also, they have a low minimum face amount of $1,000 to a high maximum face amount of $40,000. And you're actually protected due to chargebacks because of death if your client lives past 9 months of the effective date that the policy was made effective. So that's nice because a lot of these guaranteed issue carriers actually will charge you back at any point in the 2 years that your client dies. And the last carrier on the list here is Guarantee Trust Life. I like Guarantee Trust Life. It's one of the newest carriers in the final expense arena. It fills a lot of the voids that normally would have been sent to a guaranteed issue carrier. Guarantee Trust Life would be known as a near guaranteed issue carrier. They cover a lot of stuff that's almost guaranteed issue. There's only 5 questions. There's actually no prescription or MIB check. So as long as your clients can honestly answer all those questions, no, they are guaranteed to be issued. The next step is, what do they actually cover very well? They cover conditions like heart issues within the last year, like heart event related issues, heart attack, strokes, that kind of thing. Congestive heart failure is acceptable by GTL. Cancer, as long as it's cured, is acceptable by GTL. Oxygen use that's not 24/7 is also acceptable. And there's a couple other conditions trying to think of, but these are kind of the big things that are the most obvious. What's so special about GTL? Why not just put them with guaranteed issue carriers? Well, here's the big thing. With GTL, in the second year, you get half of the face amount. Whereas, say, with Great Western, you only get a return of premium in the second year. So you get more coverage faster for your clients. And the nice thing about GTL is actually the pricing is better. It's actually competitive. It's more competitive than AIG, which is more competitive than Great Western. So it's not like you're losing anything by offering GTL. You're getting your client a better deal. And the good thing about it from a telesales perspective, it's real easy on the telephone interview. All of my agents are surprised really at how easy it is. And they really like using it. We write a ton of GTL, and it fills such an important niche that I think that other carriers just don't quite capitalize on. So let's wrap this up. Again, what are we looking at carriers here? My top 5 favorite final expense telesales carriers include Prosperity, Royal Neighbors, Liberty Bankers Life, Great Western, and Guaranteed Trust Life. I absolutely think every final expense agent that wants a real shot selling final expense over the phone, sight unseen, should absolutely be using one, if not all, of these carriers. And if you don't use these carriers, you're going to have a product shortage issue. You're not going to have the flexibility in underwriting. You're not going to have the flexibility in pricing. And you're not going to have carriers perhaps that will actually get the policy issued because maybe they require an electronic signature, but your client can't figure it out. And there's nothing worse than losing a deal, right? Where everything's closed except getting the signature on paper is just next to impossible. So let me know what you think about these carriers. If you want to add any more, other ones you think that are great, feel free to leave them in the comments below. If you enjoy this kind of training, please like this video, subscribe if you haven't, and I hope you like this. My name is Dave Duford at Duford Insurance Group. Check out how my agency works up here and below. You'll see some links. And until next time, thanks for watching. Bye.